All right. Well, welcome to our team call. I am so excited about today's call. I think we were in need of one like ASAP, just because of everything that's been happening, and we're seeing the momentum building up along with Summit that's right around the corner. So, and then the new releases, so many things happening that um, I feel like with our team, we are in desperate need of hearing the message of we have today from one of my good friends that I think is I'm so grateful that thanks to the business, we get connected with some amazing people that if it wasn't for the business, you wouldn't. And um, I think it was like last week going and scrolling and out constantly going through Christina's her posts pop up. I'm like, okay, I felt that overwhelming feeling. I was like, I need her to talk to my girl, just because I know what some of my girls are going through. I think overall, all of us have struggles. All of us are going through something one way or another. And sometimes we feel like if we're not all in, we can't do this business, or you might feel some type of guilt. And I'm one of them right there. I'm just going through some emotional stuff going because of my son leaving. And I'm like, I got to give him 100%, yet I feel guilty giving it to the business. So we all have something going. And I feel like with Christina's story is very powerful, what she's gone through. And even while she was going through it, I know she came here to my house when we worked that one day. And I asked her, how are you doing it? How? My heart was in so much pain for her, yet she still had this smile. I mean, it doesn't mean that she had her moments through this whole journey, obviously, and she was very real and raw about it. But I was like, now that's something that I feel that, again, we all need to hear from her. And Christina, I think I didn't even ask you for your credentials, you could do your introduction in that aspect, but I think that your story is beyond powerful, and I am just so happy that you're here with our team tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored that you asked me to speak to your team. Truly, like, I don't know, I just kind of went through my journey and just did my thing and shared, and hopefully I can impact your team. I can impact you all with just, when you and I, Lindsay, asked me to do this, I was like, okay, God. All right, so let me put this down on paper because I really didn't think about how I did it, how I accomplished that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to tell you my story. Now I have it on paper, so now I can say that I know how I did it. So I'm going to start with my story so you have an idea of where I came from. I'm in my son's room. This is a sign we made for him when he came home from Nashville, from Nationals for TV production. So this is my background for the evening because everybody else has taken over the rest of the house. This is my quiet space for the evening. So there's your background. So I started, let's start from the beginning. I started my journey with this being my last ditch effort. I had seen T25, a T25 infomercial. It was Christmas time. I told my husband, I want T25. I said, I want T25 for Christmas. He says, okay, but don't you want clothes or a gift card? I said, no, I don't want any of those things because I won't buy clothes and I won't use the gift cards because I don't feel like myself. I had just gotten my body back from adrenal failure. So I had issues with hormones. So it was regulating all of that and having to fix myself that way. And I still couldn't lose weight. I was just like, over it, right? So like many of our clients that come to us, I was that person that it was the last ditch effort. This is the last thing I was going to try. If it didn't work, I was just going to settle for where I was. And so my husband is the one who knows Christina, and he reached out to Christina. I didn't want anything to do with Shakeology. I thought all shakes were the same. I was that customer. So much fun. And so I purchased T25 only. 3 weeks into the program, I noticed everybody else was losing weight and I was gaining weight. And I said, gosh, this is the one thing that is different that I'm doing is I'm not drinking the Shakeology. So, of course, I started the Shakeology. I signed up for the discount because I knew that there was another month of Shakeology that had to come in. So I wasn't going to not do the discount. I want to save money. Well, 2 weeks later, my husband cornered me in the kitchen and said, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills this month. I was like, okay, I know that Christina's on her way to retirement. This was 4 years ago. Becky had just retired. There were people that were making income. I said, surely I can make $150 a week to cover our groceries. That was it. That's all I wanted to do. Well, 21 Day Fix was launching in February. I jumped on that train and I ended up rank advancing to Diamond in 3 months. A couple years later, I rank advanced to 2-star, and I just built this business. So when you hear coaches talk about product launches, take advantage of product launches. Go all in and do your thing, because that's how I built this business, was with 21 Day Fix and going from there. So that's my story there. And I just continued being a coach. I was a teacher in the classroom, and in 2016, that August, I said, okay, this has to be my last year. I'm just exhausted. I'm drained. I just don't have it in me anymore. And I made the decision. I said, okay, this is going to be my last year. I'm going to do whatever I can to, make it happen. Well, you know how you make plans and God laughs? Okay. Well, in February of 2017, my world was shaken, rocked completely to the core. My mom, super healthy. When I was growing up, she was Becky Brose. You see Becky? That was my mom when I was growing up. Bodybuilder, ate super clean, was always working out. She was 72 years old and she looked phenomenal. People could not believe she was in her 70s. She was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And so she was like my best friend. We're super close. And of course, we were devastated and we were just questioning, how in the world could this happen to somebody so healthy and so just with it? And it was just one of those things. She's that 10% of people that ended up with cancer. And where the cancer was, it was inoperable. So her only options were chemotherapy and immunotherapy. We went ahead, we did our research. We found an oncologist that we absolutely fell in love with. And she started chemotherapy in March. In June, we did she had a PET scan done. And unfortunately, that tumor stayed exactly the same size. It just kind of shifted. There was like nothing changed with that tumor. And we found that it had spread to her pelvic bone and to the mid-back, to her middle spine. This was such an aggressive cancer. It was truly like crazy. And in June, I had made the decision to take a leave from the classroom so that I could take care of my mom. Because from the day she was diagnosed to the last day of school, I was taking days off, and thank God that I had an administrator that was just so completely and totally understanding that whatever time I needed, she gave it to me. There was one substitute assigned to me, and so whenever I was out, she was in, so that it wasn't so crazy for the kids. So of course it was complete chaos. In July, she started radiation. She was doing all the radiation, and in September, in August, she started having trouble walking and standing up, and it was just kind of like weird what was going on. She had an MRI done, and the cancer had spread yet again. So more radiation for my mom, and it was just really insane. In November, again, she was in the hospital, and brain tumors were found. So this cancer was just every month, it was just constant, like it was crazy. And it was found in her brain, and it was also found on her physical lung. The primary tumor was in the lining of the lung, and now we saw spots on her lungs. She opted in November to not continue with chemotherapy, and her oncologist actually agreed because she was so fragile and in such a fragile state. She had lost over 25 pounds. And he said, if you can get 10 pounds on her, I'll go ahead and I'll treat her with the minimal doses that I can, but I cannot treat her. It would be unethical for me to do that. And I'm so grateful for him, because there are so many doctors out there that would just push the chemo, and he didn't, She did do one last ditch effort in December. She did CyberKnife, which is a very specific radiation for the tumors in her brain, because the tumors were found in her frontal lobe, and that affects memory, that affects motor skills, that affects language, that affects emotion. And she said that she wanted to do that because she did the CyberKnife because she said she didn't want to forget me. She wanted to remember my face. So she did that. They were able to get 6 of the 9 tumors that they found in her brain. But a week later, she ended up in the hospital again. And the MRI showed that there were more tumors in her brain, and these were bleeding. And you get to a point where it's like, how much more can a person take? And she was 90 pounds and she was tired. And at that point, she said, I'm done completely. I'm done. I just want peace. I just want to live whatever time I have. And her oncologist told me at the end of November, before she did the CyberKnife, that she had 1 to 3 months to live. So you're put in a position where you're like, okay, do I convince my mom to continue fighting after everything that I'm seeing her going through, and, you know, just this, she's becoming the shell of a person, or do I just respect her wishes? And I needed to respect her wishes. I needed to honor her and honor her wishes. At that point, I was her power of attorney. I was her medical proxy. I was decision maker. I was caregiver. I was everything to my mom. And, you know, I had to have like a come to Jesus moment. I had to decide, okay, now what? You know? And I was emotionally drained, and I didn't know what to do with everything that was being thrown at me. I just knew my life had turned into being caregiver. I had lost who I was as Christina, as wife, as mom, as friend, as just who I was. And so I decided to seek wisdom. And so I went to a therapist. I went to a grief counselor. And she had lost her mom a couple years before to cancer as well. So she was really able to minister to me. It's amazing how God places the right people in your path. So I did the work with her. I was seeing her every single week. I connected with my pastor who had lost his parents, and, you know, he, you know, spoke wisdom and truth into me and helped me through the process on how to honor my mom and her wishes. I did the work. You know, a reality check that I had with my therapist was that I needed to ease back into a new normal, because I didn't know anything else other than being an advocate, researching chemo, researching immunotherapy, researching all these kinds of things for my mom. I had forgotten how to be daughter. I had become this logical person that was doing business, and I had forgotten to be her daughter. And my therapist forced me to kind of let go of that title of the caregiver and medical proxy and all that, so that I can be my mother's daughter and feel. And I don't like feeling. Feeling is not fun. But it was kind of one of those things where the therapist gave me permission to feel and to cry. And she says, your mom needs to see you cry. She needs to know that you're hurting, because she needs to comfort you. She still needs to be your mom. And that was kind of like a crazy thing to me. I said, but she's the one that's suffering. She's the one in pain. She says, yeah, but she needs to know that you're suffering and in pain also, so that she could give you. That's a gift. Mind-blowing to me, but it was something that I was able to do, and I put the work in, and I was able to have conversations with my mom, lay in bed with my mom, which I wasn't doing because I was like business, just hanging out with her and just being mom and daughter, and having lots of conversations and lots of time with her, so that there was this sense of closure. I had lost my brother 6 years ago, and it was a sudden death, and there was no closure there. There was always this what if. And I had this second chance to, you know, allow a loved one to go, and both of us would have that piece of closure. And it was just a beautiful thing. It really was. In that time, you know, 80-Day Obsession test group members were rocking it. You know, in November, results started to come in. Christina's results were out of control. I mean, you saw all these people just, their bodies were completely transforming. And my therapist told me, you need to find something that you love doing, and you need to start focusing on that. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this 80-Day Obsession. I'm going to start working out again. A Little Obsessed came out, and I committed to those workouts. And in January, I started on January 15th with everybody else. And I was still caring for my mom. And she told me that I needed to put myself first, because if I was giving from an empty cup, I was giving nothing. I was overexerting myself, and I wasn't coming from a good place. And I was going to be resentful of that. And so I needed to fill my cup first, and then help everybody else. I relearned how to be me. And in that process, although it was difficult to spend my morning doing the workout and then going to mom, it was an important thing for me to do. I needed to fill me up, and then I was able to serve everyone else. During that time, I read personal development books. My therapist referred, books about hospice care and, just whatever I could get my hands on, I read. And in that process, I grew. I learned how powerful and strong I truly was, because this is not an easy thing for anyone to go through. I learned compassion. 100% I learned compassion. And I think that's something that, when we're so focused on a goal or focused on business, we forget compassion. And I learned how disciplined I was. And my therapist made it known that I was just like my mom in that, because my mom was a bodybuilder. I remember her eating when I was 12 and 13 years old. She wanted to take these pictures of her results. And I remember her boiling chicken and eating steamed broccoli, and there was no salt. And I was like, how did she do that? And she says, Christina, but you do the same thing. You're just as disciplined as her. And it was really just amazing. So I grew in personal development. I read, and I leaned on my faith. I knew that God was giving me this. I know it sounds crazy, but it truly was a gift. There was a lesson in this. And I knew that there was a lesson. I just kept asking him, show me what I need to learn. And so, getting myself prepared for this, my journey, how does my experience parallel to Beachbody and to you all? And your chaos may look different than my chaos. And all chaos is valid, but I think it's the way you respond to it and how you move forward with it, because it's not that you're getting rid of it, you're carrying it still, but there's a way for you to do it healthy and to do it in an effective way so that you can still be strong and just do your thing, so I wanted to show you the parallels. When it comes to our business, when there is chaos, seek wisdom. I sought wisdom with a therapist. Seek wisdom from your coach. Your coach is there to help you 100% of the time. That's their job. Don't ever feel bad to call them. Don't ever think you're asking a silly question, because you're not. That's something that we're here for, to help you and to guide you through whatever it is that you need help with. Excuse me, a success partner. Everyone should have a success partner. This is your equal. This is somebody that you're going to share your goals with, and you're going to tell them, if this happens, I need you to reach out and tell me this, this, and this to get me off my butt and working again. That person needs to know your goals. They're going to push you, and when I was going through everything with my mom, I had my best friends that were there for me. My husband was my rock and still is my rock. Thank God I have them in my life. And that was so helpful to me, because he kind of reminded me, okay, remember, you first, and then everybody else. And a mentor, somebody that is where you want to be, and you want to follow, what they're doing and what it is that they did. Ask them questions, and how, they've come before you, so they know what's coming and they know how to help you. My pastor, my therapist, those were my mentors. Those were the people that I needed to go to help me figure out the way through all of this. Another thing that this parallels with is focus on your transformation first. I focused on my transformation 100% first. In January, when I started 80-Day Obsession, I had my numbers that I would pull off my wall. But it was just one of those things as accountability for me. And I knew that I would take a picture every day with my number, because I knew that this program was going to help somebody else. I knew that there was going to be at least one person out there that is going through something so difficult that they don't know where to start. And I knew that my journey would probably help somebody. I know that nothing in life happens in vain. So I was very, very aware and very diligent about recording my journey. And when you have your own transformation, it comes off genuinely. And through everything that was going on with my mom, I continued to hit Success Club. The last month I hit Success Club was August. And what's heartbreaking is if I missed it in September, I would have been Success Club Legend in September. And I had missed that, but I had grace with myself. I knew that I was going through something bigger, and there was no way that I could be there for somebody else while I was going through this with my mom. So I had grace with myself. And I would post, but it wasn't genuine because I really wasn't doing anything. But the moment I started AD Obsession and I started growing and learning from that experience, my posts were genuine. They were real. Everything that I was going through and sharing, it was my transformation, so people could relate to what I was saying. Get uncomfortable. I got so uncomfortable. When I tell you that I feeling is really hard for me, feeling is really hard for me. I'd rather sweep it under the rug and move on. I'm very good at avoiding, but I got uncomfortable and I learned to feel, and I think it's a beautiful thing now. It's terrible in the moment to feel through it and cry through it and release that, but once it's released, it's this amazing weight that's left off. But when it comes to your business, you need to get uncomfortable. You need to learn the business, but don't just learn it. Take action. Do the work. So many coaches are aiming. When are you going to fire? You need to go for it, right? If you're hesitant, why? You definitely need to ask yourself that question. Talk to your coach about it. What is it that's holding you back? How can we help you? How can we mentor you through that? How can we coach you through that, right? And trust your gut. I found that a lot of people ignore their gut. Ladies, we have that instinct built in us. I think it's just part of one of those things that's part of our checklist when we're made. And I learned to trust my gut with my mom's journey. The first oncologist that came to see her wanted to start her on chemo right away. And my spidey senses said, nope, we're going to a second opinion. And thank God I did, because I don't know what he was going to do to her, but I probably overdosed her with chemo. But trust your gut. Every step of the way, I was trusting my gut. When, and I still trust my gut. When a name pops into my mind, I'm messaging that person. There's a reason that person's name came into my head. I'm not going to think about it. If you've read the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, do it. There's a reason, whether it's to start a conversation or maybe they were thinking about you or whatever the case may be, there's a reason why. Trust your gut and go forward. Show up every day, every single day in your business and in your fitness. Show up for your workout, show up for your meals, be honest with yourself, do the work. Yeah. Act as if, stand in your power. There was, for a long time, I did not place myself in an equal position as the leaders in this company. And that's a wrong thinking. That's an employee mindset. But when you see yourself as a leader and as an equal to Christina, to Becky, to all these top coaches, the only thing that they have on us is time. That's it. Christina, for me, she's been in the business longer than I have. She has more experience. She knows how to deal with objections. She's kind of found her groove. My story is very different than hers. There's nothing different between the two of us. We are both business owners partnering with Beachbody. That's it. And once I started believing in myself that way, that changed. There was a stance in me that changed, and my confidence changed as well. And that's you too. All of you need to believe that as well. And that came from personal development. That came from advocating for my mom, standing up to doctors, standing up to nurses, standing up to, all of these people insurance companies, all of these things. But you don't need a traumatic or devastating, situation or event to empower you. That's something that you have in you. I think personal development is so key when it comes to this business because it's an emotional business. And sometimes we attach ourselves to the outcome and we take that no personally. And we kind of, for me at the beginning, it would kind of crush me. I'm like, oh my God, no. Somebody said no to me. But for me now, it's like, okay, they're not ready yet. This is not the right timing for them. And that's okay, because I don't want to spend my energy convincing somebody to start and over again. I don't want that person to think, oh, well, here we go. Here's another program that I failed at. No, they just weren't ready. And that's okay, because they'll come back. I've had plenty of people come back and say, okay, now I'm ready. Focus on the person that you're helping, not the Success Club points. When I changed my mindset that way, it just changed. The Success Club points just kind of followed. I know it sounds very strange, but Success Club points, yes, they're super important because that gauges your business. You're growing. But when you focus on the person and their needs and what transformation they need, and they feel that, they don't feel like they're being sold to, they're going to trust you, and those Success Club points are going to follow. That's it. Don't take notes personally. Ask a lot of questions. Figure out what it is that they truly need, and then move forward and offer them what it is that's available. Okay, I got 9 minutes. I'm working fast. Okay. So in closing, I wanted to share with you my November through February. Okay, so November 2017 to February 2018. Those were the hardest months for me. In Thanksgiving, my mom was perfectly fine. December, she couldn't stand on her own. I literally had to get in her bed, and she refused to come to my house. I had to go take care of her in her home. She was so stubborn, but it is what it is. I would have to get into her bed to lift her up and sit her up. In January, I signed the paperwork officially to place her in hospice care on January 25th. That was day 10 of 80 Day Obsession. Every single day, I would do my workout, prep my meals, and go to my mom. February 8th through the 13th, those were like the hardest days for me. It was crazy hard. I would wake up, do my workout, prep my meals, and I'd be with my mom. The only way that I left my mom was if somebody came to relieve me. And that's the only way I came home, to do my workout, to shower, to change, to prep my meals, and come back home. And that February 13th, I stayed with her. I was staying with her all night and taking care of her. And on February 14th at 12:54 a.m., I watched my mom take her last breath. And it was the most devastating thing I had ever experienced and felt, but it was the most peaceful experience. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but she had suffered for so long, and she was ready. She kept asking me, why am I still? She would wake up when I showed up, and she said, I'm still here. I said, yeah, you're still here, Mom. He's not ready for you yet. But when she took that last breath, there was this peace and this calm. And I share this with you because I went home. I got home like at 3 a.m. I slept. We woke up to tell the kids at 6. They were so strong. They went to school. They wanted normalcy, you know? And I woke up in the afternoon, and my husband said, you want something to eat? Go back to bed. I said, no, I need to work out. And I know that sounds crazy, but I needed to stick to my guns. I had made a decision, you know, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from my goal. And that was day 29. And on day 29, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the same day my mom passed away, I worked out. And I shared that. You know? And this journey has taught me that there's no excuses. There's no such thing as excuses. It's decisions. You decide to do something, or you decide not to. And the excuses that you attach, or the reasons why you don't do something, is a cop-out. And I know that's kind of strong and kind of rough, but we give ourselves, you know, if we're going to decide to do something, all other options are gone. They're off the table, right? So you decide to work the business or you don't. You decide to show up for your workout or you don't. You decide to follow the nutrition plan or you don't. It's all a decision. The excuses, it's just a fancy word to say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm lazy, or there's fear attached to that also, you know? And I understand fear. Trust me, fear is huge. I still have fear, you know? But I think when we do it scared and we do it, you know, with that gung-ho attitude, with saying, okay, I can do this and I'm going to cross that, I'm going to break through, you've made a decision and you come out stronger on the other side, you know, when you do things scared like that. And, you know, for some people, they're looking for a way out of their current business. This is your way out. This business is a beautiful business. And if you don't know what you have, research, learn, because the amount of, you know, our CEO invests so much time in our products and us and the coaches. It's just an amazing place to be. And I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you with, you know, how did I push forward through all of this? I made the decision to do it. And that was it. I made a promise to myself because I read in Rachel Hollis's book, Girl, Wash Your Face. She said something about how it's so easy for us to keep a promise to somebody else. But when we make a promise to ourselves, it's so easy for us to break it. That's not okay. We should be the first person we're making and keeping a promise to. And that was a powerful thing for me. And I said, okay, I'm keeping my promise. And, you know, I know my mom would have been all in with me. She was my biggest support. Even I'd show up to her apartment and she's in bed. I would tell her, Mommy, I'm so sore. And she'd try to massage my legs. Linda. So she was my greatest supporter. How can I not, you know, pull forward and move forward? So I leave you with that. Make the decision and then go for it. That's it.
Wow. Oh, Christina, thank you so much for your words.
You're welcome.
For me, what stands out from all of this is how you say stand in your power.
Yeah.
That to me stands out. I cannot imagine what you went through.
Yeah. It was difficult.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all. But we're stronger than we give ourselves credit for.
Exactly.
Truly. You know, I don't know, women are built really, really just amazing. We are just powerful beings. And, you know, we are so easy to make ourselves small. And we're not. We're powerful. We bear children and then we go and get to work. Like,
exactly.
Hello? I mean, we're powerful, you know? So stand in that. Stand in that. So.
And I really want all of us to reconsider, to really think about how, you know, Christina was mentioning, what are the excuses we are giving ourselves?
Yeah.
And not to justify, I mean, not to take away from the struggles you are going through. I mean, we all have our struggles.
Right.
You know, no struggle is bigger or small. But like for me, as right now, my emotional stress, what I'm going through, it's a big deal for me.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, and I don't know if Christina ever felt like that, but at moments I still feel guilty of having to go do the business or work out because I need to give the time to my son. My son's not dying. You know, my son is not, I'm losing him for 2 years and he's still here with me, but the pain is still there, right? Yeah. But I would do have to say that the business has given me that emotion, a way to be able to get away from those emotions. Mm-hmm. and just like for when I go do my workouts, it's just a relief, you know. The same thing with the business. When I go with my challenge group girls, like I forget about everything and it's just somewhere where I could just be me again with and help others. Right. So
it's a meditative thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So I really, really tell you girls, let's reconsider. Let's really think of what it is our struggle is and then use it in a good way. Use it to find hope and to find happiness with the business, because the business is amazing. And like we always talk about that it's a gift. Mm-hmm. And our time is going to run out. But I'm just going to end it there. Thank you, Christina. Thank you for your words.
So welcome.
I can't wait for all the other girls to listen into this call because I know it's going to help them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's cathartic to cry it out like this.
Right? All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.